What's going on YouTube? JT is your boy here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about DC versus Vampires Killers. This issue was written by Matthew Rosenberg, of course, and it is another one-shot set in the whole DC versus Vampires universe, whatever you want to call it. So I've spoken continuously about how much I really enjoyed DC versus Vampires. I like the story that's going on with it. Like, I thought it was initially just going to be like a 12-issue miniseries, and they've expanded into other various spin-offs, kind of like what they did with Deceased. But I feel like the threat of vampires is a little bit more interesting than undead zombies, although I really like Deceased. This one's definitely got a different tone and style to it than that story, and I still continue to enjoy it, although this one is probably the weakest of the issues I've read so far. Basically what happens here is Harley Quinn, because, you know, she's got to be everywhere, is put at the forefront of everything. She's kind of running a little underground thing in Gotham, trying to, like, get rich with the whole vampire situation and the world kind of going to hell. Basically, like, all sorts of heroes are kind of at their low point. She's kind of have her little ragtag group of characters. You got Solomon Grundy, you got Clayface, and Catwoman. That's pretty much all she's got for right now. Then she comes into contact with Jim Gordon, who needs her to smuggle something out of Gotham, which is Lex Luthor's blood, which is the key to defeating the vampire threat that's going on in the world, which, you know, was something introduced in the main series, which I'm surprised that we didn't get this little information in the main series. But I don't know when the next issue of DC versus Vampires is supposed to come out. Like, you know, the main series going on, they'll probably like have a quick reference, be like, okay, Harley got this from this. So there's that going on there. Eventually Selina turns out to be a vampire, like Mr. Terrific's one. There was somebody else here too, and like I said, pretty much what I like about the story of DC versus Vampires is every issue you don't know who's who. Like, you don't know if somebody's a vampire, you don't know if somebody's not, so it keeps you in constant suspense of like, are they a vampire, are they one? So there's a lot of genuine surprises every time you kind of read the book. Sometimes you can be a little bit predictable with some things, but then other aspects you're like, are they evil, or are they not? Like I said, it's kind of that it reminds me a bit of John Carpenter's The Thing, where one of the, like, some people are infected and some aren't like who they say they are, and I think that makes the story a little bit more exciting, and you're kind of left in the dark about who's really who. So I like that aspect to it. Eventually you come to find that Selina is responsible for it, or is a vampire too, tries to get to Harley. She bites her in the neck, but because Harley had injected herself with Lex Luthor's blood, which is the key to defeating vampires, Selina disintegrates herself. So now Harley Quinn is the key to ending this whole conflict. So we have somebody who's been constantly being pushed from DC, as you can see in a lot of other things, kind of being pushed more towards the heroic thing because she's a very popular character, and now she's kind of like humanity's last hope. So this is an interesting contrast to like what's going on with some of the other heroes. Now we have somebody who's once a villain kind of ending up probably going to end up becoming one of the main heroes of DC versus Vampires. So a lot of twists and turns with this series. Artwork this time around was done by, let me check one more time, pencils by Mike Bowden with Eduardo Mello. Artwork's pretty good. I don't think it's as strong as the Otto Schmidt stuff, because I really like what Otto Schmidt was doing. But I think the artwork is good. I think it works for this particular storyline. You get to see the various facial expressions and stuff. The action is visceral, and so on and so forth. So anyways, not my favorite of the DC versus Vampires thing, but I still enjoyed it overall. Like I said, DC versus Vampires has been a really good series that DC's put out recently. So if you're into it, I think you'll like this thing. Don't think it's particularly the strongest issue so far, but it's still, you know, it's still passable. So anyways, what are your thoughts on DC versus Vampires Killers? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit that bell for notifications, yeah, be sure to come back next time. I got a video on Deathstroke Inc. and Task Force Z, and then that'll be it in terms of comic book videos for this week. And then we go into next week, which I think is Dark Crisis stuff or whatever. So more stuff is on the horizon. All right, well, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.